Okay, so now we're about to start the laminating portion. Basically what I've done here is I've run all of my top boards through the thickness planer on both sides just to make sure that they're nice and square. As you can see, that's a nice square edge right there, really smooth on the inside edges. That's going to make the boards meet up together better as I start to laminate them together, as well as give me a nice flat edge up here. Typically 2x4s have a beveled edge, so that helped get rid of it running it through the thickness planer. So we're going to run this through the laminating process. I'm going to do it in sections. I'm going to do it in 7 boards and 6 boards. And then those will then be laminated together later. But for right now, we'll laminate it in sections of 7, 7, and 6. That way I can run it through my thickness planer and get the top nice and even. And one thing I didn't show you was masking off the area. That's very important. It's going to be a messy job here with all that glue. So I actually made some risers here, just screwed on some PVC pipe to a piece of 2x6 just to get it up off the table just a little bit. That's going to allow me to clamp better on the ends to make sure that my top is nice and straight and flat. But here we go. We're about to start laminating. Okay, so I knew it was going to be a mess, but good grief. I may have used a little too much glue between the joints, but better to be safe than sorry. So I have my boards laminated together in sections, like I said. So you can see there, I got 7, 7, and 6. With as much as the planer took off getting these boards nice and square, the total overall dimensions is going to be right at 26 inches wide for my workbench, which is good enough for me. Like I said, this is just going to be used for some tabletop tools. Okay, so masking is important. My puppy got out here and helped me with taking up some of the paper already, but I'm glad I masked really well for this messy job. Okay, so here is the basic frame structure that I've already started to put together of the base. Now these 4x4s are cedar. I didn't really want to use pressure treated because as they dry out they have a tendency of cracking up a little bit and twisting, that kind of thing. So these are cedar. It just came out that those were cheaper than any other non-pressure treated 4x4 that I could find. I tried to get as clean as possible on the 2x4s, but I still ended up running them through my thickness planer just to make sure that they were nice and square and right with the world. I need to do these two still to put on the base, and I'm gonna put casters on the bottom of this. So I want them under the 4x4s, and planing them down is actually going to help so that I can actually have most of the caster, if not all of it, under the 4x4 and not on the 2x4, and it would still reach out so that I can lock it. So one thing that I ended up getting to use with my thickness planer that has just saved me a world of headache and cleanup is this just a simple 1 horsepower dust collection system from Harbor Freight. I bought this little cheap dryer vent because I didn't have anything else available to me at the time. I've got some actual good air hoses coming in the mail from Amazon. This is the dust collection bag. I've also ordered a cyclone system, a chip separator, because I know you probably can't see very well down in there, but it is just full of heavy chips, and as the bag gets clogged, it loses its ability to suck. So I've got that coming in the mail for future projects, but right now I just got to make do. If you don't have one of these, invest in one. A thickness planer has been an amazing investment for me. I think it's going to come in handy on some future projects. But this was kind of my concept here. This is going to, and forgive my artwork, I just scratched this out freehand. But basically, and I've changed some measurements as I've gone and remeasured what availability of space I have in my garage. But the overall dimensions is going to be 82 inches wide on the base. The top will overhang about an inch all the way around. I wish it overhung just a little bit more, but I wanted the base to be 24 inches deep, so that I could actually put full 24-inch pullouts for my tools underneath. And that's what these are here. These are going to be 24-inch, not 22, 24-inch pullouts for my tabletop tools. So that's the concept. That's what we're doing. Now I got to set my planer up, get this all cleaned up, get my table out here so that I can plane these sections down, plane these boards, get the base finished up, and we'll see where it goes from there. All right, well, here are the laminated sections all planed down to a 3-inch height. You can see that when you push them through, you get a little snipe going on with your planer, so these ends are going to be cut off. Actually, I have a mark over here, so this is actually the finished edge right here. These marks that I placed all the way down every foot, as you can see, are going to be where I drill out for a wooden dowel, so that I can join them and get them nice and even when I glue them up for the final glue up. But everything's coming along really well with the top. It's going to be a nice stout top. So here's the base finished up, just the bare bones of it right now. Of course, I haven't put the MDF platform yet. It'll go on the inside here as a bottom, and then I'll build my pullouts on top of that. But the casters are all mounted. I picked these up at Harbor Freight. They're like $5, and they've got a nice lock on them so that I can keep it still, but they're rated for 200 pounds a piece, so should be pretty good. But now I just need to finish building my jig so that I can get nice 90-degree drill holes for my dowels. I'm gluing that up as we speak, and I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. All right, so I wanted to go ahead and try a few of these before I started the video to make sure that it was all going to work out right, but I think I had shown you that I've marked all the spaces where the dowels are going to go to get some through tenons to really strengthen up this glue when I glue the last 3 pieces together. I went out and actually bought a doweling jig from Harbor Freight for, I guess it came out almost 20 bucks once I paid tax and everything. But unfortunately, my top is 3 inches thick. After running it through the planer, these 2x4s on edge came out to 3 inches thick, and that only goes to 2.5 inches, so I couldn't clamp it on properly, and I couldn't even try and rig it to work because it's one solid piece. So I made my own. This is a $5 jig. Went out to Lowe's, got 2 scraps of hickory, which was their hardest hardwood, glued them together, then got a piece of plexiglass. This plexiglass was right at $5, so it was the most expensive piece. Glued it to the top after cutting it to the width I needed and scoring it down the middle, and I just kind of drew in that line with a permanent marker so I could see it a little bit better. But before I glued that on, I drilled a hole with my drill press and made sure my drill press was a perfect 90-degree angle through there. So I drew my line up, matched them up, and now all I have to do is line my jig up with the line. Boop. I clamp it on just to make sure it's nice and steady, and then I've got a hole that's at a perfectly 90-degree angle to help guide me through so that I'm going to get really good 90-degree angle dowel placement. So I'm going to go through here and get all the other places drilled in on all the boards, and from there we'll get this thing glued up. finished product of the first beam. This is actually going to be the end of the board, so this is all dropped down here. But you can see that it put me perfectly 1.5 inches deep, and I'm dead on my hole. Looks pretty much 90 degrees to me, so we'll see how it all glues up once I put the dowels in. Alrighty, so what we've been doing here now is inserting the dowels. I've got them sunk in about 1 3/4 inches, almost 2 inches. I wallowed the holes out just a little bit with my drill, just you know, moving it around only about halfway down, not the whole length of the dowel, because you want it to be tight at the base. But that way, as I'm lining them up with its sister hole over there, if it's got any deviation left or right, it'll find the hole a little bit better when I'm lining them up. But basically all I'm doing is taking a dowel, putting glue on half of it, little drop on the end, sticking it down in the hole, and then hammering it down with my dead blow hammer. Alright, so another update on the base. I have pretty much finished the initial frame now. I have not started the pull-out drawer platforms that the tools will be on, so that they can be easily accessed. And I apologize about not showing y'all what I'm doing as I'm doing it. More or less, the camera work is just happening when I'm taking breaks. Well, I haven't updated in a little bit because mainly I've been having a nightmare with this top getting it level and flat. It had about a 3/4 inch twist in it, which is teaching me that I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to gluing up boards. I think I might have clamped them incorrectly, causing it to twist. I didn't really have great clamps either. I'm working with ancient pipe clamps, and you can see this one actually bent that I put so much pressure on it. So I think I actually ended up causing most of the twist. But anyway, so it's a nightmare. It's a dusty mess. Thank God for a chip separator, so I don't have to keep emptying my little bag a million times. But you can see here, that's a 15-gallon drum, and it is about filled to capacity, so I'm about to have to empty that. And I'll show you about what I'm having to eat down over here. So once I get that, we're gonna be flat. You can see that over here it's barely eating at all. But yeah, so there you go. Thank God for a chip separator.